Okay, so if you joined me last week, you saw this card. It's from, the flowers are from the same stamp set that I used to make those blue bonnet cards and cute little treat box from last week. So we're going to do that today. So I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to go through just a couple things real quick. Okay, so a couple things. If you go to my blog, first of all, you'll notice that I have a new logo. I wanted to make it a little bit more simple and a little bit more, I don't know, symbolic. I put a heart because that is like the base of why I make cards, is to just like send them out and make everybody know that they're loved. So that's my new and improved logo. Okay, so if you go to my blog, redhotstampers.com, first thing I want you to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel. Second thing you'll notice over on the side is where I put, you can subscribe to my newsletter here. Do that if you haven't already. I totally forgot to put that as a homework assignment. So everybody can do those two things. It costs $0. So YouTube subscription and my newsletter subscription, I send that out sometimes once a month, sometimes once a quarter. I am really focusing on this though, so it's going to be once a month. So subscribe there. Never send you any spam. It's just fun ideas and my paper pumpkin printables and all that kind of fun stuff, projects I'm working on. The extra promotion, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Right here, you will always find the current hostess code. So if you shop now and use this current hostess code, I will send you a free package. Hi, Denise. Hi, Marianne. I will send you a free card supplies kit. So for example, today I'll send you all the pieces to make these cards. So hello, thanks for joining. So there's where you will find the current hostess code always. So even if you're watching the replay and it's a different month or a different week, you can always find the hostess code right there. If you have a specific card that I've made that you would like the cardstock and embellishments for, then just send me an email. It's Crystal with a K at redhotstampers.com, and I can include that as your free gift. So that's homework number 2. Subscribe to my YouTube and my newsletter. Number 2, shop now with that hostess code. Number 3, if you click up here on the discounts page on my blog, then that's where you're going to learn more. You're going to find out more about becoming a VIP customer, where you'll instantly get 20% off of everything that you purchase. And that will go as long or as little as you want. So there's no commitment on that. But this promotion, you only have a week and a half left. So today, right now, what I want you to do is click on that discounts page and you get to choose any products, $155 worth, and it's only going to cost you $99. So I have this little sheet if you're like, I don't even know where to start. So here's a few basics that you can get. Some card bases, a chamois to clean your stamps, a Memento black ink pad, a clear block for your stamps, some adhesive, and some paper snips. So I have those supplies here. If you're interested in that, let me know. Just leave me a comment here and I will Facebook message you this PDF so that you can see those supplies. So if you get these supplies plus a package of assorted cardstock colors, so one family of cardstock colors, and a package of scrapbook paper, which we call designer series paper, so DSP, you can also choose 1 or 2 bundles. So if you look in the front of the catalog, or if you don't have a catalog yet, just go click on that Shop Now button, and you can click on the left, or there's a little picture right underneath that says bundles. Just click on there, and you can choose 1 or 2 of these that add up to $78. So there's tons of them. So you can choose 1 or 2 of those, depending on how much they are. And if you are a huge holiday fan, you can also right now choose anything from the upcoming holiday catalog. So there's that. So comment below and I will send you that little list of where to get started with that. So that is the absolute best deal, and I would love for you to be on my team and we can be stamping buddies. So okay, so today I have 3 cards. It's using the same exact layout, but it goes from beginner to advanced. So last week I showed you this cute barn door card, and I didn't do the inside yet, so I'm not going to show you that. The inside looks like this, so pretty. And then I have this advanced card that uses the sliding door dies that go with, here's the barn door stamps, there's the sliding door dies. And then I'm also using that same stamp set from last week, the soft spring stamp set, to make those pretty wisteria or lilac, whatever you prefer. And then the fancy one, the advanced one, this is so cute. You guys ready? I love interactive cards. Okay, so here's the barn door. And it slides over. I'm so happy to know you. Isn't that sweet? And then the inside, you'll just decorate that same way. So I'm going to show you the inside because it can be the same for all three. This one, the sentiment's a little bit different. I used the sentiments from that barn door stamp set. There's a lot of good ones on there. And so you open it up, hello, and then it says, may your troubles be less and your blessings be more. And then they open the card up, and nothing but happiness come through your door. Isn't that sweet? Okay, so let's get started. All of the measurements and everything will be on my blog later today, so be sure to check that. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, what you're going to need, and there's always options. So I did a Sahara sand card base, and that measurement, you can do it either way, the long ways, or when I was teaching, it was the hot dog way or the hamburger way. So you can do it either way, but it's half a sheet of cardstock. So this one's 4 1/4 by 11, or you could do it the other way, and it's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And then you just score it in the middle. So there's your card base. And I always score it just so that it folds nice and easy and doesn't get those like wrinkled lines. Okay, next layer, you're gonna actually cut 2 of the Highland Heather. Just go ahead and cut a piece of cardstock in half, and then you're gonna trim it by 1/4 inch. So this layer is gonna fit right on the card base like that. So this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then you need, that's for the middle. Then you need, so here is your option. So I use Sahara sand for both of those, or you can get a smoky slate just to add a little bit more something, like a little bit more variety in the color there. So I actually kind of prefer that variety. I don't know, but we're gonna do Sahara sand just so you can see one that way. Here's the one where I use smoky slate, and you can see it's just a little bit darker, so I really like that right there. Okay, so we're gonna stamp first. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the measurements on that one, it's just another 1/4 inch smaller than that layer. So it's 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start stamping. I'm gonna use that as my back paper. So, and you can either stamp first or emboss first. It just depends on the look that you want. So this one I stamped first. You can see the flowers like go into the cracks of the bricks. This one I embossed first, and you can see that it makes the brick lines stand out a little bit more. So whichever way you prefer, there is another option. That's the best thing. Well, there's so many best things, but that's a great thing about making your own cards, is that you get to personalize it to whatever you want. Okay, this one is crumb cake, and it's a little, I'm using a different color just to give it a little bit more variety. It's kind of like, instead of being matchy-matchy, you're coordinating. So there's that. I'm going to stamp off just so it's not quite as dark. And then I'm just going to cover that top. That one was kind of light. I'm going to cover that top with the branches. And it's okay that it's not exactly the same there, because it's handmade, and that's the best part. Okay, so there's my branches. Then and these are the stamps from the soft spring stamp set. So I'm using this one and this one. Last week I used those 3 right there. Okay, and then you're gonna ink this one up in Highland Heather. I don't know, you guys, I am melting. It's like seriously 1,000 degrees. I need a summer home. It's somewhere cooler. Okay, this one is Highland Heather, and you're just gonna kind of fill in where those branches left, and then you're gonna add another stamp off. The reason why you're doing that is to just add some variety and texture to your card. And it doesn't matter if you don't get it perfect. Like seriously, perfect. What did my daughter's first grade teacher say? It was like, perfect is so boring. Amen, sister. Okay, so there's my, I'm gonna add a little bit more right there. So there's my stamped layer, And then I'm going to run that through my embossing folder. So depending on what die machine or whatever you have, your sandwich is going to be a little bit different. For these 3D embossing folders, I don't know why, but mine, I use the old base plate with tab 1, and then I add that thin die adapter. And that works for me, but you'll just have to experiment with it and maybe add some layers of cardstock until it gets perfect for you. Oh, come to Seattle with Anne-Marie. We totally should. I was going to say road trip, but that's a long road trip, so we'll fly there. Okay, one little tip on using these embossing folders. I love how they have this line because then I can just I can put my layer in there and line it up with that line so that I can make sure it's straight. It doesn't always matter, but on this one, because it has lines, it does. I mean, perfect is boring, but sometimes we just want to get as close as we can. So now I'm going to just run that through my die cutting machine. And these 3D folders are a little bit thick, so you may feel like it's resisting a little bit. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. Make sure to add a clear plate with that or it's not going to emboss. I do that every time. I'm like, why is it so easy going through? So it'll feel a little tight. If it feels too tight, then stop and take one of your layers off, or else it'll damage either your machine or your folder or something. So when I take it out of my embossing folder, that's what it looks like. I don't know, can you guys see? Gorgeous, isn't it? So there's my layer. So this one, instead of being like a barn, is more of like a country cottage. So that's probably more my style anyways, a country cottage. We also have the wooden planks embossing folder, and that would look cute too. So there is my layer. Next thing I'm going to do is add my door. So on the card I showed you last week, it was just one flat layer. This week I'm going to have it open. So here's step 1 for the interaction. You're going to open that little door. Super cute, right? And the way that you're going to do that, you're just going to get a scrap of Whisper White, a scrap that's big enough for the door. And I'm going to use that same block. And you can make your door go either way. I just like having the lines kind of go the way, you know, I want their eye to go the way that they're going to open the card. So this one I used either, I'll show you the difference here. This one I used the Memento black ink pad, and this one I used, what color? Basic gray, and I stamped off. So which one do you guys like better? It makes the door stand out more right there. Maybe I'll use black on this one just to make it a little bit different from that one. And black is a basic color that everybody has. So, okay, so here's my Memento black, tuxedo black, I think. I'm just gonna make sure. Okay, we're gonna line it up on the edge here. And I didn't specifically already cut this one. You like the black, Marianne? Well, perfect, great minds think alike. Black it is. Okay, so, and then what I'm gonna do, what in the world? You always get ink splotches. I don't even know where that's from, but that's part of being handmade, guys. That's gonna go on the, it's gonna get adhered to the other side though. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring my trimmer over. I'm gonna show you. So what I'm gonna do is just score right at the edge of that door. And then I'm gonna fold it over. And then I'll just trim it so that it matches perfectly. That's a scoring blade. Okay, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. The new trimmer comes out sometime before the end of the year, and I'm intrigued to know if it will still have that scoring blade. A couple of friends and I were talking about that, and that's one of my favorite features. It's just one tool and you can you can score and cut all at the same time. Okay, so there is my door. There you go. One thing I'm just gonna trim right there, and I could go ahead and do it on my trimmer, but I'm just gonna trim it with my scissors to be quick. My fancy, super fancy scissors. Totally being sarcastic. Okay, now on the inside of the door, you can add whatever you want. I am going to go ahead and add that cute saying. It's like a proverb. May your troubles be less and your blessings be more. And you could even just leave it at that. But because there's an inside of the card, it just fits so perfectly that there's a second part to that saying. Okay, so there's my door. One more thing before I add it to my card, I'm going to go ahead and add some of those blossoms. So I'm going to get my Highland Heather ink pad back out. Fingers crossed it has the score blade. Yes, I know. Oh, I think I saw Erica on here, if she's still here. Did you happen to see, I know you saw it on your cruise, does it have the score blade? Because inquiring minds want to know. Okay, so I'm going to add a few blossoms, and it doesn't have to line up with what's on the front of the card. But add a few blossoms just to give it some color and some depth and texture and variety and any other descriptive word you want to add there. Okay, so there's my door. Another option you have here, you can either just stamp the hello sign right on there, or you can stamp it and then punch it out. Just for the sake of time, I'm actually, you know what, on this one, because it's black, I am going to go ahead and stamp it and then punch it out, because then it won't have the lines showing through. Because how often have you seen a transparent door sign? Probably never. Okay, I'm going to just trim this piece so that it'll go through my machine. And I'm going to get my hello sign. I am going to want a little bit of variety in the color, so I am going to use basic gray for this piece. Doesn't matter, but I always like to use the corners. Okay, there we go. And I have to close these or else I'll get ink everywhere. How many of you have ever destroyed a card that was perfect and then you lay it down on an ink pad? And yes, there are two sides, but sometimes two sides are not enough. Okay, so I'm going to die cut that. And to die cut that one, all I'm going to do is, I love the magnetic base plate. I'm not going to use that one. So the magnetic platform, and then I'm going to layer it with my clear, whatever they're called, cutting pads. And sometimes that die likes to jump, and so I'll just slide my cardstock to get it to where it wants to be. So I'm going to run that through my machine. Here's my cute little sign. And you can either pop that up with a dimensional. In fact, I'm going to do that. But it looks like I left my dimensionals over here. These are also a must-have. So unless you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you'll want to add that to your VIP starter kit. Add some dimensionals. I use those all the time. Okay, so here's my hello sign. Here's my cute little door. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere all my layers, if I can find them. Here we go. Okay, so one by one, first I'm going to adhere my door, and I'm going to add the ribbon at the end. Don't want that door falling off. There's nothing worse than sending a card in the mail and it arrives in pieces. See, I didn't even line up the flowers, but it looks fine. It looks perfect, but not boring perfect. Okay, then I'm gonna layer this embossed layer. I'm gonna adhere that one to my Highland Heather. And just a tip, just because there's already adhesive on there, I line up the corners and just make sure that it's even, and then go ahead and flatten it down. That way it's going to be straight and you're not going to have to try to peel it off and ruin a cardstock layer. Then I'm going to adhere all of that to my card base, which is just half a sheet of cardstock. Okay, I'm super shaky. I took migraine medicine. It always makes me so shaky. Okay, so there's that. We're just gonna add a bow, but I'll do that at the end. I wanna show you the inside. And before you adhere those together, we're gonna stamp, because otherwise you'll have it running onto the other layer, and we don't want that. So get out your Highland Heather, and you can also, our purples are perfect for coordinating. So you can use Highland Heather, you can use Purple Posy if you have that, or it's coming out soon, so you'll be able to get that soon. Gorgeous Grape also coordinates really well with it, it's just darker. So what we're gonna do is have all of these point into the middle where we're gonna put the sentiment. So we're gonna stamp and then stamp off. And I messed up a little bit there, but you know what? It's not even a big deal. Just stamp and then stamp off. Again, and it doesn't even matter. Stamp, stamp off. So see how I'm kind of turning it so that it's gonna point into the center. And I'm gonna go to the bottom, and I'm gonna do the edges last. So the corner, and you can even stamp off 3 times just to add a little bit more. Okay, and then we're gonna go stamp, stamp off, stamp. I'm just kind of angling it just a little so that it's kind of bringing your eye into the center. Stamp, stamp off. I'm gonna go 3 on that one. And just 1 more. There we go. Okay, there's our beautiful border. Handmade, one of a kind. And then we're gonna use that Memento Tuxedo Black again with the second half of that same. So the first half on the front, I don't want to stick it in the ink pad. And then the second half right here. This one I added kind of a lot of flowers, but maybe it's for somebody that just moved in and I don't quite know them yet. So I don't have a lot to say, but there's still enough that I can sign it. And it still has a nice sentiment. So there's that one. Now we're gonna layer that one onto Highland Heather. And this just adds like a tiny little detail that just really finishes it off. So center that, make sure the border is even. Ooh, I think my sentiment's a little crooked, but it's handmade. So there's the proof, made it just for you. Okay, and then we're gonna layer that one onto the inside. Okay. There we go. See, doesn't that look finished? Gorgeous, right? Okay, and then we're gonna add a bow. And I absolutely love this ribbon. It is kind of thick. It feels like a thick paper. It doesn't tie super easy, but I am world's worst bow tire, so thank goodness Sophie doesn't like wearing bows. But it still ties really nice. So, and you could even spritz it with water to get it a little bit softer. This one, I always tie it on the spool just so that I can make sure. These are my favorite ribbon cutting scissors, and they're Eiffel Tower, so. Mariah, hello. So Sophie's not here to entertain you this time by asking for tape. She cracks me up. Trim that one a little bit. And then to adhere this one, I'm just gonna use a glue dot. So you can either use the glue dots in your paper pumpkin kit, or this roll lasts forever. And if you're quoting Sandlot, you're my kind of person. So I just put a glue dot on there, and then I'm just gonna stick it right on top of that hello sign, kind of at an angle, except for I want that bow to come in the front. And I got my finger, there we go. Kind of at an angle there. Fix the bow a little bit. So there is my finished card. Isn't it cute and personalized? And it has like, I just love that, the opening door. Super cute. Okay, just a reminder is if you want to buy any of these products, then you can shop now and use the current hostess code, which it's not gonna be stamped on, but there's the current hostess code. And if you love these things and you want a discount, then go ahead and click on that discount page, and you're going to find, you're going to be brought to the link where you can buy your VIP starter kit. There's no code that you need to type in, but you're going to be able to choose $155 worth of products for $99, and that's only good for another week and a half, and then it goes down to $30 less, which is still a good deal. But make sure you do that within the next week, and talk to me if you need help choosing your list of products. So if you do that, and then you'll automatically get 20% discount on everything that you order, and then it can go up from there. So here is the tutorial for that third card that slides. So this one's a little bit more advanced, but I'm going to show you that really anyone can do it. So we're going to take those same pieces that we had before. We're going to not do as many layers on this one just because it is thicker, and to be able to still send it through the mail, we're going to keep some of the layers off. So this time you're going to use a Highland Heather base right here, and your Sahara Sand layer is just 1/4 inch smaller. So again, the base size is 4 1/4 by 11. It's just half a sheet of cardstock, or if you want it to open the other way, then you're just going to cut it at 5 1/2. So it'll be 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. So this Sahara Sand layer is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and stamp just like we did on the other card. So we're going to pull out that, I used crumb cake, and again, stamp off. This one I actually stamped full strength so you can see the difference. It's just a little bit darker, and that one looks fine too. So whatever you prefer. So I'm going to stamp off and pull my door off so I can see where I'm going. And I'm just like, the tree's over here, so the branches are kind of going this way. Stamp off, and I stamped 3 branches. I didn't mention that the last one. So there's that. And it's okay, see the variety there? It's totally fine, doesn't even matter. I add my door back on there because I'm going to use that same block. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is add those blossoms. So I'm going to close my, actually, since I have this open, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my door. My door I'm also going to stamp off because I don't want your attention to go to the door. I want it to go to the sign and the flowers. So here's my door. So there's that one. Now I'm done with crumb cake. Close that up. All right, on to the Highland Heather to add those pretty blossoms. And this way I can stamp it right on my door as well. And again, you can do the door either way. I just like having the arrow, you know, like the way the lines go is how the eye is gonna move. And so because your cards, I don't know, either way. I just get a little technical sometimes. Okay, so I'm gonna add my blossoms here, stamp, then stamp off. You can even go a third time. Just to add a little bit more depth. Stamp, stamp off, and stamp off again, just to fill in that hole. And then I'm gonna fill in the hole up here. That way, okay. And then add the overhanging blossoms to the door. And you'll notice this one, I totally forgot to stamp it onto the door, and it just doesn't look as good. It needs that like layer. It needs to show that the flowers are coming over. So you don't have to line it up with what's on your card, but we just want to make sure. There. One more. Okay. All right, then I'm going to run these through my die cutting machine, and so this one's going to go through the, okay, this one's going to go through twice actually. This one's going to go through the embossing folder, which I put somewhere. Here it is. So it's going to go through my embossing folder, so I have a different sandwich for that one just because it's thicker. And again, I'm just going to make sure I line it up because a brick wall is not going to be crooked, so this one kind of has to line up. So I'm going to line it up with that line right there. And then just close that in, send it through. And while I'm doing that, and I need my clear plate on top of it. So you just kind of have to experiment with the different layers, and then you'll figure out which one's right for your machine. And I may even like write it on a post-it note until I remember which sandwich works best. So there's my cottage wall. And then I'm also going to run that one through the die cutting. So I'm going to do a couple things here. In fact, let's go ahead and stamp our hello sign, because we're going to need that one too. And I'm going to show you the dies that you'll need for this. So from the sliding door framelits dies, you're going to need this one, which is just going to cut the tracks for the sliding door. Let me make sure you can see that. I think I'm a little bit low. Okay, let me stamp the hello first, and then we will go ahead and show you the pieces that you need to die cut. Okay, ooh, that one's going to be in black, and it's handmade. Has a little bit of a worn wood frame look there. Totally meant to do that. Just kidding. Okay, so we're going to need that one. I'm going to trim that a little bit more just because I'm going to send them all through at the same time. Why exercise more than you have to when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, right? Or ever. Okay, so I'm going to layer. Now this one you can just cut with your trimmer or scissors, but we have a die for it. So there's my hello sign. I'm going to add the sliding door tracks to the front layer, and I'm going to show you. This layer is smaller than a card base, but it'll still work. You just have to leave a tiny little bit on each side there. Okay, so there's that. And then you're going to grab a scrap of Highland Heather, which I can't find. I already used it though. And you're going to put Highland Heather with this pretty square wreath design. So that one's going to go on there, but I already did that one. Then you're going to add your door, and I should have cut it the other way, but we'll just trim it. You're going to add this piece, which is the door frame, just to cut that out perfectly straight. Now there's a couple other pieces that you can add. You can add the track, the decorative track that goes on top. I'm not adding it this time, but you can. And then there is this little piece that's a door handle, and that one I would probably, if I had a scrap, I would add that as well. So you can do black, you can do Sahara sand, you can do gray, whatever you want. So you can add that. You could even do white and then color it, but I'm just going to leave it off this time. So I'm going to send that through. Ignore that I'm taking that off. You'll want to add that one. Although if you're getting the kit from ordering, then you'll have all these pieces already cut. Okay, so I'm going to grab my clear plate and send that through. And this is all the die cutting you need on this card. So here's my pieces. Now one thing that I want to show you, take these ones off first. Now I can't remember how they were on here. I don't know. I messed it up. Okay. This piece right here, you're going to want to save those two pieces that were cut out. If you don't, if you already forgot, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But what you're going to do is put them on the card base so that there's the tree behind it. Okay, so we're going to take our card base, and the first thing we're going to do is, we're not going to adhere this yet, because if you want your door to slide, then you have to do another step. So what I'm going to do is just add some adhesive. I'm just using my multi-purpose, whatever, liquid glue. I'm just going to add some adhesive on there. And also one tip, when I have my ribbon, that's a nice glue holder so that it's always ready to come out. And then it's going to go this way. So you're going to use that to line it up so that it'll show behind it. And then we're going to do the same thing with the one on the bottom. There we go. Okay, now to make this fun door, first of all, let's get it completely assembled. So we're going to take our door and wreath and hello sign, and we're just going to adhere those on there. So I'm going to just make sure there's enough purple showing, and then I'm just going to flip it over and just scribble some glue on there. I'm going to flip it back over and glue that baby on. So there's my door. This one I did add the handle, so you can add that as well. I may go and glue that on later, but whatever. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to peel this apart to show you. So what you're going to need is a couple buttons or washers, something flat but circular, and I'm going to show you what I used on here. Actually, yeah. I'm going to show you a few things that I had just laying around the house. Ooh, another thing that I found that would work is snaps. So I'm going to try that one. I have a couple buttons. The thing is, you want them to be the same, just so that the thickness of it is even. So there's a couple buttons. You're going to need 8 of them. So this one is perfect. This button is what I used on that first card. These come like with my husband's dress shirts. They're those extra buttons that come. So I've started to just throw them away, but now I'm going to save them because those work perfect. So grab 8 of those, or you can buy them pretty cheap. Snaps, washers. I didn't have any washers. I only had bolts, and those are a little too thick. So I'm going to show you with these snaps actually, because this will be one side. Because I haven't used these snaps in like 30 years. So we're going to use them. See, we're decluttering at the same time. Okay, so what you're going to do is get that door and that die cut cottage wall, and you're going to put one on the back side. I think I'll use the flatter side. Now I can't tell which one was which. Yep, that one. We both have that. Okay, I'm going to use it doesn't matter, but what I'm going to do is put that on one side, and I'm going to slide it all the way over to the left. You just have to make sure it's big enough that it's not going to come through the die, the hole that's left there. Okay, so you're going to line that up, and then you're going to put a mini dimensional. Those fit perfect with the size of holes here. So you're going to get one for each button or snap or washer, whatever you have. You're going to add that onto it, and then you're going to peel that off. Now with snaps, you probably don't even need the dimensional, but I'm going to show you just because if you use a button or something, you will need that. So you'll put a dimensional on there. Then you're going to peel those papers off and add the second layer there. So like that. So ignore that I'm taking it off because snaps actually are perfect. I'm going to start stocking up on snaps because they're pretty cheap too. Okay, so you're going to slide that all the way over to the right, and then you're going to add a glue dot on top of those. And yes, you're going to do it for the other side as well, but you don't have to do that yet. I'll show you. So it's a little advanced, but it's still doable. That one's not coming off. There we go. Okay, so we're going to add the door. So the way to get this slid all the way over so it's straight is I just set it down and slide this piece over. And then I'm going to hold it there, lay my door on it so that it's even and straight. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. So we'll just pretend I don't have 4 more pieces right here. I couldn't find 16. So I'm going to lay my pieces over here, add that dimensional, add the second layer, add the glue dot. Okay, so the buttons, add the dimensional, put this on, add the second, so we'll pretend like this one's the second. It's going to go on like that. The second one, add the glue dot, and then you're going to slide that over so it's all the way to the right. You're going to slide your door over, sticking a little bit. And we're going to do, okay, I got to pick that up. Snaps might be a little, okay, there we go. And then you're going to, so your buttons or whatever you have, buttons, washers, pennies even, whatever coin you have, slide that all the way over. So slide your cardstock so they're lined up, put your door down, and then your door will slide like this. The snaps are a little bit tight, so definitely use that dimensional, okay? So there's that. Then we're going to glue that down. Just ignore that the second side's not done. Oh, and I wanted to show you, when you glue this down, you're going to add 3 dimensionals, 3 dimensionals, 3 dimensionals, 3 dimensionals. So you're going to add that, and then just add your layer right there. So that will be raised up on dimensionals, okay? Then you're going to slide your door over. Yeah, those snaps, and I don't have that second one there, those snaps definitely need dimensionals to just separate it so it slides a little bit better. Okay, now what you need is half of the door. So we're going to get that door stamp. So I wasn't quite done. I totally forgot about this part, but I love this little detail. Okay, so you're going to get that crumb cake. You're going to ink up the door, and you only need half of it. You're going to stamp off. We definitely want this one lighter. And then you're going to stamp. So you've got half of the door there. You're going to trim that after you close your ink pad so you don't get extra ink everywhere. You're going to trim that so it kind of looks like a frame. Pardon my shaking hands. Oops. We're just going to trim that right there. So there's my frame that's going to have my sentiment. And you could either add, I think this one might be a little bit large. It might go off. Let's stamp it on the other side and see. Because I just love that, that like proverb or whatever. You could turn it the other way, but I don't think that's going to show through the door. So let's see. Oh, I think it does work. Awesome. Okay, we're totally going to use this one. So you could also use the sentiment like that I did on here that says, I'm so happy to know you. So any sentiment works, but we're going to use that cute 2-way saying. So we're going to just stamp it right on that frame that we made. It was so cute. Don't you guys love that? Okay. And then we're going to adhere that just inside the door right here. So then when it's closed, you don't see anything, but then when you slide it, you see that sentiment. And then when you open it, you're going to do the inside just the same way we did that other one. So although it's going to be on, it's not going to have that Sahara sand layer, it's just going to be Highland Heather. So then you're going to stamp that second sentiment, that second half of the sentiment, and that'll be your inside. So there is the advanced card. And if you wanted to add a bow, you could with that ribbon, that pretty scalloped linen ribbon in Purple Posy. But just remember that this card is pretty bulky, so to mail it, you might want to keep the bulk down by leaving that ribbon off. So there's the advance card. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.